Okay, we are recording. I would like to call the May 17th meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission of Missouri to order. Let's see, let me go through.
Let me get my,
Got the order.
that made us a beautiful presentation. Let me get it
Okay.
going. There we go.
Okay. I will call the roll first to make sure that we have quorum. Stacy Budke. Bill Hanson. Is not able to attend tonight. Robert Huerman.
Thank you.
Not able to attend. Keisha Lee, not able to attend. Travis Neal. Here. Jim Person. Sue Rich. Present. I declare we have a quorum. Do we have any written communications?
We do not.
We do not see any citizens in the audience. Therefore,
Oh, I'm moving Rob over to
Okay.
panelists. Rob is now here.
okay,
Rob is present.
okay, I would also like to, as far as the role, is that we have Jennifer Yackley. Okay, sorry.
Hey.
And
Beverly,
Yes, Rob?
should I join as a panelist? Is that what,
Yes.
is that what it's saying?
Yes,
Okay.
join as a panelist.
Thank-
like to modify that we have Robert Huerman as a commissioner. And Beverly Tucker Knight is also present,
And I'm here.
and Maxine Wheel. Why, sorry. You got it. Okay. We have a quorum. And I would, the minutes of the last meeting have been published as of last Friday. Does anyone have any modifications or any updates that need to be done? Hearing none, I will ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the, let's see, the April 17th, 2024 meeting.
Motion to approve the April 17th, 2024 meeting.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved. So let us move on to the park projects. Everyone, can you,
Let me see if I can
We have-
advance my,
as with all such projects, we have, there are things that happen that need to be fixed and punch lists as well as that. So, Beverly, can you,
let's see. Let's see.
any citizens online?
I'm trying. Well, we went way too far.
Okay.
Oh, we did approval of minutes. Okay, great.
So,
Okay, so park project updates. It's going straight to the video. So Villa Park splash pad repairs have been completed as far as the concrete. They put in the heads and they'll begin testing shortly. The water is turned on.
The
So,
water is on, so if
yes,
it works, it'll be on before
Right.
Memorial.
well, if it works, it'll be on a Memorial Day, because that's when they open it. Yeah. Okay, so that worked. Let's see if the next one goes. There we go. Warson splash pad also received a repair. You can see the fresh concrete there. This was taken shortly after it was poured. It is now the same color as the other ones. We are now waiting to find out when they're going to test those heads. And we are pushing them for a Memorial Day opening, but I'm not sure. That's,
They are the contractors?
Yes,
or
the
they are
contract-
staff?
it's a contractors. It's a different contract than the contractors working at Villa. It's two separate
Okay.
companies. Yes.
And so Villa is ready to go?
Villa's ready to go. This project is still the original project. This has not been closed out with the city yet.
Okay.
Yes.
And what were the issues?
There were problems, with the concrete from when they poured it when it was really hot, there wasn't enough moisture, so these are, items that the project manager required me to for the city to approve the project.
Okay, are there other punch list items that are still outstanding from Epoxy? Epoxy contract that used the last?
This is some of the last ones right now. We have work being done on HVAC right now, that's,
Okay.
but yes, but we're very, very close to completing it all.
Okay,
Right, and then next up, we have the Five Oaks parking lot and the Warson Park parking lot project that are being funded through the ARPA funds were presented to the city council last night. And they passed, and we have a tentative start date for these paving projects of April 17th, I'm sorry, June 17th, and that's pending weather. So when you came in, you probably saw some ash trees coming down in the parking lot, and that's preparation for that project. It's very difficult to see this, but they're doing several different phases of this is the southern end of Warson Park. The yellow and the green are being done with this project. The red are items that are being removed. The orange is a future where we are going to be eliminating the drive aisle in because we no longer need a bus circle there with the old community center being taken down.
and will that be staff that does that, or will that be a contract?
That will be a contract.
Okay.
Yeah, the contract, the work being done for this paving came in too high with this contractor, so we'll be doing another contract. Typically, that means that the contractor did not necessarily want to do that part of the work, so that was very, very good. So Bruce is working on getting a cheaper one there. This Five Oaks here is interesting. So this is the lower lot that you see when you look out the windows. The building is not, our new building is not on here, but you do see a pickleball court on there. And that is a future item. There's a vision item in this master plan for Warson Park to have an outdoor pickleball / tennis court. So this is a placeholder that we are going to pave around and leave that as a dormant area so that when we have the funding, we can build pickleball there.
Will there be parking there or
There'd be parking, so parking,
will the pickleball shop?
no, it's going to be dormant, like a fallow area, not paved.
Okay, you're not-
Yes, it's just a placeholder for the future, so it'll probably actually be, but we have it drawn onto the drawing so we can make sure that it's the correct dimensions and that's our actual regulation size. And then it has buffer around it as well, because we don't want, the pickleball to go straight to the parking lot. So we'll lose a little bit of grass where the ash trees are coming down. The parking lot's gonna come back up to make a better drive aisle. And then we will replant with new trees in the fall, and then we'll put some oaks in there. And then what's great about this project is that they are doing where they remove the asphalt fault and grind it up and then reuse it down in there. So it's a regenerative asphalt, which is great and really helps us lower the cost, but also prevents having to put stuff in landfill. So it's a great opportunity.
And what's the timing on that?
We're hoping for June 7th, the week of June 17th. We'd like to get it done in 5 days, both lots.
Oh.
So we shall see. It may actually, it all, weather plays a huge part of that. Right, and then Centennial Greenway was really booming, and then this rain, these series of storms have really slowed them down. They've gone back in and redone a lot of the erosion control. You can see a crew right there with the big grass wattles, the straw wattles that go out and take care of that. They were able to get a lot of the storm drain items in before that happened. So we really need a good dry spell for it to dry out so the concrete can start going in. But I love that picture. This has been a great crew that's working, a really great construction company. Yes.
So I want the greenway today. And I noticed when the owner, from the street park, that they only road up to.
Yes.
So what's
Yes.
the situation?
So that is actually not the greenway, that's our pathway, so technically we're not supposed to talk about it right now, but I'm absolutely happy to answer. We've had a lot of trouble. We have, there was a lot of honeysuckle cleared, and the mowing company didn't realize where they were supposed to go, so we've had many numerous.
That is all about.
That it's not all of that land, it's city of St. Louis land that we're supposed to mow. So we are taking care of it. Pat and I met with the contractor today. We both walked it. They are starting to pick it up. It's gonna take a little bit to get it down. Almost every resident of Bonham Woods has called us to let us know about it. So we're
Well, it's funny that it's like really road. They can make it to you, right?
It does, it's very, when it was, when the honeysuckle completely filled that area, no one knew where the
Correct.
property lines are.
Correct.
Yeah, and people are still unsure, but we noted that we're gonna mow as far as we can to the,
And I noticed the same thing.
Indian Meadows has had a
There was
lot,
also the
yes.
Same sort of lineage, and that's why
Yes.
I'm curious about that. as
Well, Indian Meadows, they can't get the mowers behind the tree protection zone, so we're asking them to go in with weed whackers. Yeah, we're asking to go in with, by hand.
I talked about.
I've asked them to go in with trimmers to do as much as they can.
So that's all, Mr. Rector, really.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay,
Okay, moving along to topic on capital improvement review. One of the things is park commissioners. We make recommendations to council on capital improvements. You know, there's a budget and I'm not familiar with the exact amount of that, but it's over a 5-year period. So I thought what we would do tonight would we would look at 3 parks. Because it's a little crazy in terms of if we go for more. In terms of how that works, there's a lot of different funding mechanisms for capital improvements in the park. And I will talk to, have Beverly tell us all the various, there's 5 or 6 different funding sources. So that's the first step, and then prioritization and whatever it's what we do, and then we send that to council, and council takes all the capital for the city and figures out how to divvy that up. So I will.
great. So you had an agenda report in your packet that went out on Friday, so I won't go into great detail because I'm assuming everybody has read it, but there are some high-level items I'll cover ahead of this. So we have a capital improvement plan for the city of Olivet. I'm going to give you a very brief overview of what that means. So every city classifies capital items at different dollar amounts. We're a small city. We have small capital funding, so our levels are much lower than other cities. So for example, any item that's going to last longer than a year and cost over $5,000, our city classifies as a capital item. And then capital items have very specific ways we procure them. So we go through a very detailed acquisition process to make sure that we're following the best financial responsibility, safeguarding residents' money, taxpayers' money. Capital projects are any item over $50,000. So what that means is pretty much anything the city buys pretty much very quickly becomes a capital item. So fire trucks, even if you buy a series of radios or laptops for the police cars, those are capital items. Every piece of park equipment pretty much that we have is a capital item. This divider here in this room is a capital item. The divider in the gym that we had to value engineer out, that's a capital. So it very quickly becomes capital because our operating budgets are so small. The capital project process is that staff makes recommendations, requests of capital items and funding to the city council on an annual basis. We have a 10-year plan, and we try to anticipate when we purchase a capital item, when it's going to need replacements. Like, for example, if we buy a car, then we really try and figure out how long is that car going to be in service? Where do we need to be looking at for replacement? Same thing if we're buying a server or something else, so that when you make that initial purchase in the capital plan, you already have kind of an out year where you know you're going to have to spend that money again. And typically it's going to cost more the second time around. The city council then determines what their goals are and weighs all of the requests, and then implements a long-term planning solution. And that is how we divide it up across the years about what's going to be spent where. Long-term planning is really important. One, because funding for capital projects in Olivet is scarce. Two, we have aging infrastructure and assets. So it could be we really need something, but there's something else that's a much higher priority. It may not be as exciting. It could be under the ground that you don't see, but is a much higher impact, much more important. And then there's increased demand placed on departments by our residents. So as the city has expanded in residents, as we have developed more, and as we have started offering more services, that brings a lot more requests and a lot more expectations from our residents. So we really have to weigh everything, so we're serving everybody equally. So funding for capital projects and all of that comes in three mechanisms. The first is through taxes, and these are ongoing taxes that we receive every year, and they can also be special taxes. Through grants, and the grants can be federal, state, or local, or nonprofit. And then debt, is something like, for example, we passed Prop C, that's considered debt. We also passed Prop P to build the city center, so that's another way where we structure debt. And there's, in the report, it goes to a lot more detail about how we do the debt, if that's something of interest to you. And then for parks, we have a dedicated funding source for our operations and our projects, and that's through the 50-cent sales tax that voters approved in 2002. And that was actually the second time they re-upped it. So that is the only reason we're able to have any parks or staffing in our parks, is this, because that pays 100% of the operations of our parks department. Without it, it would be back to the days when all of that had very, very low services in the parks. They had a lot of park run, but not a lot of. So that really is an important key item for us. I put this graphic in here because this shows all the capital money for the city over a extended period of time. So you can see how we really do have very low funding across the board for our capital projects. And that's why to implement our master plan, that's why the council decided to go for Prop C, because we had a 10-year plan with very aggressive items in it, and there was no funding available. And that's another reason why the municipal grants become very important for us that we use for our park projects. And then for park projects, none of the other capital sources that are worked for the city go to the parks. So it's, we do have our little pot, but we don't get pots of money from anybody else. It's strictly for us. So we roughly have about 1.2 million in the budget right now. And that does include our annual operating funds, which are around $650,000. So you can see there isn't a lot left over for capital projects. So we really try and eke it out and measure it out over the cost of several years.
Thanks, just real fast.
Sure.
So
Yes,
difference between though, we roughly have 550 to play with each year. Yeah.
the city overall, but not parks. Parks roughly each year has about 250, maybe less, because we really try and save it for when we want to do a big project. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
550 includes streets and.
Yes,
those kinds of-
streets, fire apparatus. So a lot of our big fire apparatus are actually leased because we can't afford them. Leasing really helps us. We leased our equipment in the fitness center too, because we just couldn't afford to buy it. Yeah, no problem, no problem. So it's about $650,000 a year annually to run the Parks Department. And what's left over, we put into the capital fund. But for example, we're buying a new toolcat, that's $70,000. So you can see how fast that really heats that up. Okay, so so when we look at how we strategize, how we're going to take on our capital projects, the 2018 Parks Master Vision Plan is our roadmap. It's our comprehensive plan for all of the parks. And one of the reasons that we haven't done an in-depth recommendation is the last few years we've been implementing Prop C. And Prop C was very carefully crafted to get the most bang for our buck. We had a very specific amount of money. We could not exceed that. So the projects were designed to fit within the funding from the proposition, but also to make sure every park received an equal piece of that. We didn't, lots of things cost a lot more than other things. For example, our ball fields are going to cost millions of dollars to renovate. So was it fair to use that Prop C to renovate ball fields and the other neighborhoods not get it? So they were deliberately left out. So as we prioritize things, we really wanted there to be equity across all of the parks.
And that's still a key moving forward.
It is still,
Yeah.
it's still a key moving forward, absolutely. But I do want to just make sure that you understand the commission doesn't have to worry about the money. The council worries about the money. You say what you think is important. I mean, we can think about the money a little bit because we know that there are unreasonable requests, like we couldn't completely renovate a whole bunch of things. But when it comes down to trying to figure out where we can put things to fund them, that really comes down to staff and council. The commission just wants to say, this is what we think is most important. Yes, sure, sure.
One of the reasons we were trying to get the problem was to tail onto the other proposition.
Correct.
So when does that funding? How much money is that and when does that expire?
Well, it doesn't come into play because we'll never have that opportunity again. So right now, we are paying off the bond for the city center. We're paying off the bond for Prop C. So we have Prop P and Prop C we're paying off right now. We got ahead a little bit on Prop P, which is why we were able to get so much more. We were able to get more money from Prop C because we basically refinanced our house, even though it's a very simplified form. But that opportunity is the only time we'll ever get to do that. That's why it was so important we did the vote when we did. But now we still have to pay off these bond measures, over many years.
But I thought that it was going to affect how much money we had per year.
No, that money affected how much we got for the proposition.
Money.
Yes,
Okay.
and we still are paying that back.
With 15 million.
Okay.
The 16.2 million in Prop C, yes, yes,
I
yes.
thought it somehow impacted the amount of money we had.
It impacted how much money we spent on the
Got
project.
total.
Yes, yes, that absolutely, the Prop C size was based on the refinancing we were able to do for Prop B.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to remind.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, no, it's very complex. And it was really hard to try and explain to voters too.
Oh, they didn't
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, but they were happy.
But they did it.
They did it. Yeah, it's ended up being really, really good.
So that's already top, so it's already.
It's all, yeah,
calculated
yeah.
and-
And there's no more Prop C funding available to us at all. And probably not an opportunity for us to do a bond measure for years into the future because of the size of the city. We never want to overextend ourselves with debt.
And that doesn't impact the grant.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. And the city, when we went for the bond measure of Prop C, we already had Prop P, we had Prop C. We did not go to the maximum that we could have borrowed because that wouldn't have been fiscally responsible.
Still, yeah.
There still means there's more money the city could take on as debt, but you just don't want to do that. Just like in your home, you always want to have a little reserve in there. Yeah, because you never know you could have a tornado or something. Maybe touch wood, something could happen. You want to have options. Yeah. So Prop C funded short and long-term park amenities in each park that were outlined in the master vision plan. Then we also received St. Louis County Municipal Park grant funding to do short and long-term projects at Villa Park. So Villa Park was fully funded through the municipal park grant. And in your report, there's an explanation about the municipal park grant, how it operates. It's a wonderful thing. St. Louis region is very lucky to have this. It's unusual. I've never worked for a city that had an opportunity like this. So basically that is a tax that was enacted many years ago in the whole St. Louis region, and it funds the Great Rivers Greenway, it funds county park operations, and then the remainder is divvied out to all the cities in the county that are incorporated, and it's given out to them based on their per capita. So for Villa Park, we got, yes, as a grant, yes, as a grant, you don't have to pay it back. It's a grant. You don't, absolutely not.
And we had not,
Right.
we had not used it.
We had not used it. When I got here,
For 9 years.
yeah, I was hired at the end of 2014 and the city had not received a grant since 2008. And one of the first things that was asked of me was, hey, let's get some grants, let's get some money, let's renovate our parks. And that's how we started the park master plan, because all of the parks needed work. And as a staff member coming in, I did not want to say, okay, we're going to renovate Orson Park at the expense of all the other parks without resident input. So that's why we went through the process of engaging our residents and building a 10-year comprehensive plan. And I think that that is probably one of the reasons we were successful with Prop C, because it allowed everybody to have a say. Everybody got to say what they liked, what they didn't like, where they wanted us to go. So that planning, although it was long and it was involved, I think it was really important to our success. And so that's why we have this wonderful 10-year plan that really helps guide us now. We will be eligible for more grants, probably around the $400,000 range, but probably not for another year or so. And when all the cities put in their requests every year, it always exceeds the funding. You know, everybody puts in grants. But you know, we hopefully will get lucky. So our grant for Villa Park was $368,000. So I'm thinking that, and the other thing is we can always get planning grants, and planning grants, there is no limit. We can always get a planning grant. So that is something we could potentially do for our check-in on our master plan. Our planning grant, when we did it originally, was $30,000 for the 10-year plan. For comparison, some cities are now telling me they're looking at $80,000 to $100,000 because it's gone up so much since we did ours.
Can you just grab this round
What
on
round?
this table? It says down.
Oh, the rounds of table in here? So those are the years of the tax being available. And so round 22 would be, I think that was in 2022 or 2020.
2020.
2020, we're in 2024 now. I think we said, well, it might have been 2021. It doesn't, it's not tied to the years exactly, but that's how they talk about it. So that means when we got that, there had been 22 years of rounds, and they started in
And so there've been 16 rounds.
They started in the 90s.
16 rounds, you did not.
That is correct.
Did we request money and not get it?
No, I don't know what was, I was new to all of that, so I don't know what the history was. I don't know why there wasn't any request before I got here. I don't know. That would go back to previous.
I wasn't a part of the company,
Yeah.
but my involvement with Parks off the bat was, I think the previous director. You know, I came in at 6 months or 9 months into the city manager being here, and also worked very briefly with that Parks director.
Mhm.
I guess would be that the previous city manager and Parks director did not partake in, or taken advantage. Right.
A question, do we request a grant every year? and
No.
Be turned down?
No.
Or they would-
No, you want to be very selective about when you request. You really want to, so your project has to be ready, you have to have your plans, you have to have your costing. The city matches, and it's a laborious project, so you don't want to do it every year. Now, larger cities like Clayton or U City that have grant writers, they'll do it more often, but they don't get the grants either, because they look at when was the last time you asked, what did you get?
Yes, we did not.
We didn't, during those years, we did not request at all. Yeah. So there was a huge pressure putting that grant in because you wanted it to be absolutely right. You know, because there's more requests than what they fund. One missing thing, you're out. It's a really easy way for them to eliminate you, and they don't have to evaluate you. Yeah. So, so we anticipate that there will be more grant funding available for some of these projects moving forward. And then when it comes down to requesting that grant, we will want to look at where do we get the best adjacencies. We chose Villa because the cost to do Villa fit neatly into the criteria of the grant. And it could be that the next time we do this, we may do a request for Warson or for Indian Meadows. The other grant that we are also looking at very carefully is Cardinal Cares, because we do want to eventually do our ball fields, and Cardinal Cares will do grants. They're associated with the St. Louis Cardinals. They just recently did a field up at Heman Park in New City, so you can go see that. But again, there's, with grants, there's just no guarantee. You just don't know, but we will definitely be looking for them. So the next step is for us to prioritize the second phase of park improvements. So what we did with Prop C, we call phase 1 of the implementation of our Parks Master Plan. So tonight, as Jim said, we're looking at our 3 neighborhood parks. It's because we don't want to look at all 5 parks on the same night. We'll do our larger parks that act sort of as regional parks, we'll look at in June. So tonight we're doing Indian Meadows, Irvside, and Villa. We're doing them in alphabetical order, not in prioritization of different parks. We'll look at the prioritization of the projects within each park, but not pitting one park against each other. And in each of these you've got these printouts in front of you, but I wanted to go through this before we delve into those because it's too hard to see on the screen. But this is the concept plan that's in the park master plan. There's one for each of these parks. So don't worry about touching your papers yet. I'm going to take you through this. So all the landscape, the features, and the amenities are listed for each one. Indian Meadows is really long, so it's split into 2 parts. We'll look at those in a minute. Irvside Park, same thing. It has a list of amenities by park. And again, these are the high level concept plans. This is in the park master plan. So the actual drawings for each one are slightly different because this was when we were just doing the plan. Then once the bond passed, then we actually got the detailed drawings. Just like building your house, you look at an artist rendering first. Then, yes.
But I still need to choose. So the land that is in that upper area, is it coming off Napoleon?
Upper area?
Yeah, so you know.
What do you area one?
So area 1, that is not Napoleon's area 2.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
well, what I'm saying, area 1 is running along the fence line. Okay, I'm just trying to make
So
sure.
this is the river to Paris, this is where they're building the greenway right now, that's behind the homes on Huron.
Okay,
This is the tail that connects to Warson Park, this is Warson Park, right here. This one. And then here's the big golf field in Warson. And Indian Meadows goes all along Huron, and then it goes to Grandview. And then you have this little tail in Yucca, this is Yucca Court,
right,
this is Grandview, this is behind the homes on Huron. This is more river to Fair. Then this is where Napoleon comes in here. And this is where they're actually building the greenway in Wildlife.
so that upper area, right,
Up here.
no.
This
What are
is
you calling upper?
So
Do you use a
that's
different
what
word?
I'm saying. So start it deal, like put your.
Are you in
point
area
right
1 or
deal,
2?
Okay,
There's Gilman,
if you come into the park off in Napoleon,
yes,
and you're walking to the west,
yes.
right? There's a section for your thing towards you.
Here, this,
Keep going, no, right there, there's an upper tier. There's a hill that goes up
Yes.
and there's land up there.
yes.
So is that section that's open right there? Can I,
This is,
do you mind if I walk up here for a second?
so this is where they're building the greenway. This is where, back in the day, there was a playground that was removed in this, I think, the 80s. And this is Yucca that's been closed off.
Yeah, there's a hill that goes up.
Yeah,
And
this is
there's
it.
open, this is why I was going right here.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you mean open? There's nothing up there. It's just. green.
No, but the greenway's going through that. It's going through that plateau.
It's gonna go up the hill.
It's, yes, it's going on, that is the plateau right there. And this is where back many, many years ago, there was an actual archaeological, there was a Osage, or maybe even earlier, Indian camping.
So I thought the railroad was gonna go straight along the river up there.
It does down the park, it goes up here, and then it goes along the river here. But this activates this whole part of this park, and that's why we
But
want to.
there's nothing being used up there now, right? It's just flat space.
It's just not space, but remember, that's the plans. Right now, everybody that lives in this part of Indian Meadows has no way into the park, because that park entrance was closed. In the.
So is that being reopened?
Well,
That's the question. Okay, that's what I'm
That's,
saying.
that is recommended in the plan. Yes, correct.
So that's what I'm trying to,
Yes, yes.
I'm sorry, there's a long way to ask that question.
But then,
No problem, no problem. It's a very confusing park. Very confusing park.
Weird with the lines.
It is, it is. Okay, so this is Irvside Park. This is the park on Old Bonham. This is the park that has the dog park in it. And it's next to Logo School. This is Villa Park. So it has the parking lot in the front and it has the pavilion 2/3 of the way back.
And the same question there. And at one point, we're talking about putting another entrance,
That is correct.
so that's in the lower left corner on that picture.
In the
That's
upper left corner, upper
right.
left, upper right corner. That is correct. That's,
So that's what, no, that street, is that?
no, it's Tess, that's Tess. It's
Charleston
Tess.
goes down the east side and then Press goes.
Over by Dolores and Penn.
So Tess is technically the street.
And Tess is a public street, yes, and it ends right at the park, but there's no pedestrian entrance. That's correct. Yeah.
And at one point that was in phase one.
It was in phase one, and then we had stormwater issues, so we pulled it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so capital project recommendations. So the recommendations the staff has, so if we want to pull your paperwork out now, you'll see in Indian Meadows, the first thing you have is an aerial. And this aerial is since the initial phase projects were completed. So this was taken before the Greenway started. These files are too big for me to put up on the screen. So on here, if you look in, you'll see that you're looking north. You can see that there is a cul-de-sac. I apologize, you're looking south. That's correct. That north needs to be pushing the other way. That is south.
Okay, that's what I.
Yeah, I apologize.
I'm like,
Yeah.
going into the other
Okay.
way.
So,
Okay.
so right now on this sheet in front of you, we have the existing old playground, the restroom and the pavilion. You have an existing pathway here, and then this is where the new nature-based playground was built with the water feature. The path that comes through here ends because that's where it's going to connect into the new greenway. And this was the existing path. This existing path will remain, and this path is being replaced by the greenway. So this is all under construction here. And the greenway now takes it past the restrooms here and into the river to pick.
Okay, wait, so now I'm confused. So the greenway is gonna run along. here,
Yes,
But it's
absolutely.
also gonna go up here.
Well, that's part- I think that's part-
This is south
So-
right here.
No,
This is north.
that's the north. Yes, it's upside down. I apologize. So the greenway is going to come up here into, this is that high bench land you're talking about, Sue. There's the high bench land. And it's gonna come back down around here. This spur is going to be connected to that greenway. Because one of the things people mentioned,
So this is gonna come up here. Am I drawing that right? This is gonna come up here.
no. So the greenway is going to come from Napoleon up here. It'll already be up here. Then it swings down here and connects in with this.
Okay.
And then this piece comes over.
And is that piece that's connected on us, or is that on the green?
We've already built this. And then the greenway, as it comes down here, they're gonna do a little spur that
Because it
connects with
stops
that.
right here now.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
It's really hard to tell now that it's all dug out.
it is hard
It's
to tell.
much more difficult.
It's much more difficult. So the reason it doesn't go all the way to the greenway is we didn't want to have it come too close, because if there's changes in elevations when they do the construction, it'll be more seamless, and we want to make sure it's ADA accessible. And the reason it's so important to have that loop in there is that when we did the park master plan, the number one thing residents wanted in the parks were more walkways, more pathways, and they wanted loops so that they could walk as much as possible around the park and not have to do, because if you were familiar with our parks over the years, we had a lot of roads to know, little pathways to nowhere. So that's where a lot of our new trails we've put in have extended that and have kind of made that connection and added more loops within there. The trails that the staff build as opposed to the paved trails. So this is just to kind of familiarize you with since construction. It will look very different again once the construction's going on. And Google Earth is very behind. So this was taken by the landscape architect with the drone, and then they pieced it together with multiple pictures, which is why it's such a giant thing. Now, here's what you saw on there. This is from the actual park master plan. It lists all the things that needed to be done. I would say 50% of these are now completed. And then again, Indian Meadows was divided in two. So here's area one. And then the next page shows phase one items highlighted in orange, so you know what we did. So everything on here highlighted in orange is what we participated in. And Rob, for Rob's
Where is the
edification,
orange?
these are in your packet. Here's the orange.
Oh,
You have to be on this one that says phase one.
Which one?
Phase one.
Go with the one that's got.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And then this.
I'm looking at them. Thank you.
In the Centennial Greenway is green. And that's the Centennial Greenway flowing through, and that shows you its actual passage there. So everything in orange was completed in this plan. Yeah, or is currently under construction with the Greenway.
So then, in that picture, does it show it was not completed, the half that wasn't completed?
On the next one. So on the next one, which is Indian Meadows Area 2. You've got, you see Area 2, then you got to get to the next one that says phase one. I apologize, Indian Meadows has the most sheets, it's very confusing. So here we go. Phase one improvements for Prop C. So you can see here, we built a new playground. We put in this new pathway over to here.
I don't know which page I'm.
You
The
want,
last.
oh, the phase one, other ones?
Okay.
It says area 2.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, Area 2, phase one, okay. So the other ones are much simpler. In
I
here,
know.
yeah,
It's a weird shape.
it is a weird shape. So in here, the sculpture walk was not built. The sculpture walk is not highlighted, just the pathway that gets to the Greenway is highlighted. And then this gray area here is all the areas we did not touch. But then here you can absolutely see how the Greenway comes in. Now, the only thing to keep in mind is this is a concept plan. So the actual Greenway comes up higher over here. So that's not the actual route of the Greenway through, but it does show it coming through this bench land. And then the other thing that happened through value engineering, we did not do Yucca. Yucca's shown as a phase one, and we did not do it because that's part of our value engineering. We took that out of the plan. So in looking at our recommendations, what the staff are recommending, number one, is the playground at Indian Meadows Park. The existing one that's by the restrooms needs a total replacement. It's now our oldest park, our oldest playground. We have difficulty getting parks for it now, and it's really showing its age. A lot of,
Older than the one up here.
oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. It's the one that the lichen grows on, so we have to power wash it because even though lichen's wonderful, people don't appreciate it. But also, not being able to replace it, when you look at it too, Irvside used to be our oldest horrible one, and now Indian Meadows. So we're recommending that replacement. The bathroom needs a renovation. And then that Yucca Drive entrance needs to be reopened. So these are the top three recommendations on the amenities that have not yet been done from the staff's perspective.
So
You know-
when you say staff, are you talking about the recreation staff or all the directors of all? of
I'm talking about the
places?
Parks and Recreation staff, so the
Thank you.
parks crew and the recreation crew. So
Thank
we work as a team
Mhm.
to go through the plan. We talk to the crew that has to actually work on the things, and we look at, and also they talk to a lot of residents, and they
Right.
hear what residents want. So, we still have the amenities at Indian Meadows that are still long-range plans. So we still want to have the sculpture walk in there. We still want to have the fitness machines along there. But as far as what's attainable and what will serve the most people, we do think that the playground replacement is the number one. The bathrooms are functional. They're some of our newer ones, but they were done very cheaply and they have not aged well. They were prefab, and I think it took the city about 3 years to actually build them. So there was a lot of time fallow in between the building of that. Then the Yucca Drive entrance has the potential to be done in-house or to be done as a smaller capital project. Because what that entails is clearing the fence line of all the invasives up there. And then we also need to work with the neighbors to educate them that this is going to happen, because this gate was closed. We're not really sure when. We think sometime in the 90s, but Ed Kastner was on the Parks Commission, and he's now works for the city. And he can't remember exactly when it closed, but
There's a padlock.
well, we took the padlock.
Oh, you did.
We did,
But there's honeysuckle.
But there's honeysuckle that's totally overgrown. There's also a house right there, so we want to be sensitive to that. But the good thing about it is that by reopening that entrance, a whole section of Indian Meadows can now walk to the park. Because right now, there are no sidewalks in that neighborhood. The only way that they can get to the park is getting their car. So when we have our goal of every resident having a 10-minute walk to a park, this is an easy way we can suddenly open that up to a whole new host of residents.
They could technically get this part on, it's just not stopped.
But they would have to get in their car and drive there. So that doesn't, and if they're gonna walk to the park,
Walking to the park,
well, it'd be a mile for some of the residents in Indian Meadows to get to the park.
this are big trees. From the Yucca
Yeah.
to the park is, it's not. a
No,
park.
no,
within
no,
the Indian
within Indian Meadows. So the people that live,
Oh, you're talking about just within Indian, you're not talking about the people in the Yucca. You're
no,
talking about people further up.
all over Indian Meadows.
Towards Olive.
Yes, Indian Meadows is our largest subdivision. It's
Oh, my.
densely populated. And people that live up off Indian Meadows and Dealman or Indian Meadows and Olive, they drive to get to the. So this
Okay,
would,
some of us don't, but yeah.
yeah, you're in the minority. Yes,
So-
But I
yes,
see a lot of people walking,
yes,
So,
down traffic, right, through Indian Meadows.
yes.
But you're saying in lieu of back on the sidewalk, that's.
Well, I'm saying anytime that we can decrease the time and that it takes people to get to a park and makes it easier. So if you have multiple children or you even have an infant and you're carrying them or pushing them, having a shorter distance is always optimal. Yeah.
So right now, there's 2 entrances to the park technically, that would be 3.
There currently there are 3 entrances because the park is so long.
So,
Because the park is so long, you can currently get in by the restrooms. You can also get in by the new splash pad and you can get in by Napoleon. But that park is almost a mile long.
okay, so Napoleon's considered, I guess I.
Yes.
Never.
Yes, that's an
So
entrance.
technically that's.
It
so-
is.
So Yucca would be a 4th.
It would be a 4th. Well, and then eventually you're gonna have the entrance from Warson,
From the
the
Greenway.
Greenway.
5th end,
right?
right?
But that's an unpopulated neighborhood. That's the industrial park.
Correct.
so as we're looking at these, as we're doing CIP,
Yes.
do we have estimates of the costs of these?
You do not need to worry about the cost. The cost is the council and staff worry about the cost. You worry about what is the priority that serves our residents best.
So when your staff gave these 3 things, are they in order of preference?
Within the parks, they are but don't compare the parks to parks.
Well, no, I'm
Yeah.
saying,
So
like
with
Indian Meadows Park, your staff is saying that the playground would be
Correct.
number 1, the bathrooms would be number 2, and reopening Yucca
Yes.
Drive would be number 3.
Correct, correct. And with that, if Yucca Drive can be done in-house, then we don't have to worry about it, but we need to get some cost estimates to know whether we can do it in-house.
Yeah, I think that's it. Right, the comment that does come up in a number of these projects. So, was it there one thing to?
Yes,
So if I look at this route, you said half of this would not be done.
well,
Is that correct?
what was scheduled at Indian Meadows that didn't get done was Yucca entrance. That was pulled out.
And the playground was not part of
The
that.
playground was not part of the original.
The rest was not part.
They were not.
Even though we discussed moving all of that to the other. end of the
We
park.
did, but that has not been planned. That's a public discussion and in Jim's wisdom, we are not opening up that discussion because that's something the council's gonna have to grapple with. And what Sue's alluding to is that there are some adjacencies in there where some park amenities are very close to homes. For example, the pavilion is very close to a home and it's, yeah, right.
You need a park house plan. Everybody's going to be down to.
Yes,
Multiple times.
Law, yes. And from that feedback, we need to go. Extend to the list.
yes,
Improvement,
yes,
it is significant.
yes,
Which are envisioned. To be completed over 10 years
correct.
of the master.
correct.
Then, council said, let's get a whole bunch of money
Yes,
and fund this building
yes,
as well as many
yes,
of the this divided.
absolutely, absolutely.
So you had to,
We did.
right, so now staff is coming back. It's spent like last month,
Yes,
but they're maximum pushing space.
that is correct.
Well, there's two items that are in your plan.
Correct, right.
Awesome.
That's right. And with all of the recommendations we're making for these parks, none of them are not in the master. They're all in the master.
And the date on that master plan, that it was
2018.
Expiring in 2020.
Yes.
That is the time.
Yes. Yeah, so we're a little behind on doing our check-in, but we'll get there.
Okay, I
Yeah.
just wanted to remind myself of those dates.
Right.
So I think what's confusing me, maybe it's just me, is it would be nice if somehow we could easily see, and maybe I just don't get it, where this, these things fit.
Well, remember, the vision plan is aspirational. So when we had the vision plan, we talked about all the things that would be nice in here. But when it came down to actually doing the detailed plan of the park, the commission, remember, was asked several times, what are the priorities? So that is what went into the detailed plan. So the detailed plan had the greenway in it. It had the new playground, the new water feature, and it had a lot of these other things. So if you start looking at the list on Indian Meadows Park, native plantings, done. Native plantings, there's 3, all of those are done. Olivet and Bloom potential garden area, that was a potential because Olivet and Bloom, it's really dependent on, do they get more volunteers before they take something like that. Event lawn, done. Passive lawn, done. Removal of invasive species. That was decided along the way that would be done as part of the project, but also continue to be done with volunteers and staff. So that's an ongoing thing that we have in all of the parks. Removal of invasive species more. Critical tree landscape preservation area, done. Native plantings, stormwater management, done. Community garden, that was discussed and it still could potentially be out there, but the commission also identified Worcester Park would probably be the better place for that. Then you go through features of dog park active. That was, again, during the time as we did the detailed plan, it was not really excited. People really weren't sure they wanted to do that. So again, when we reopen the master plan, there are items we've talked about we want to remove. For example, the master plan calls for a parking lot at Stacy along Worcester, and the commission adamantly opposes that now, whereas before they we wanted it. So things change over time. It's a 10-year plan. So it's still in the master vision plan because we can't take something out of the plan without opening it up and voting on it and approving it. Because otherwise staff could just say, oh yeah, you wanted a parking lot, we're not doing it. I mean, we really, we have this roadmap for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay,
And so this is a natural playground. And
Yes.
Traditional.
yes,
So when they say they want the priorities of playground,
yes.
I assume it would be traditional because they have a natural.
It could be, but again,
But that was what she said. And you were that
yes,
to place the playground.
yes,
You weren't talking about the one.
correct,
Which is a traditional.
which is a traditional one. Yes, and
Draft.
And my
That's-
question is, if you go with the master plan recommendations, it was to keep the traditional playground.
well, if you keep going, it says playground natural, playground traditional, then it says renovate existing playground. So that's in there. And the reason it's like that is today, we can vote, yes, we prioritize renovating the existing playground at the park, but you're not saying what type of playground. Because then when we actually plan a playground, the commission plans the playground. So it could be at that time you say, you know what? People love this natural playground, let's do another one. Or people may say, let's do an ADA accessible
I've been
playground.
floored by the amount of feet that you've got up and back to play.
So, yes,
Yes.
people love it. People love it.
Well, they love the new one, but
Yeah.
there are people that I think, if we pull out the traditional, I think they're assuming we're gonna replace it with traditional
Well,
unless we educate.
But again, that's,
That's what
but
I'm trying to.
right now, you are not,
But we're
you're
not
not
making
deciding
decisions tonight.
what playground. You're
No, but I-
deciding it needs to be replaced. No matter
I'm
what
trying
happens, it needs to be
remember
replaced.
What the master plan said, and was it that specific or was it?
Okay, it isn't.
Okay.
But again, right now, we're just voting, do we want to work on that playground or not? And then the actual type of playground that gets put in there is determined by your public process. We just say, we got to replace it before it falls down or someone gets hurt. Okay, so the detail comes with the plan. Okay, so if you go through this, we've done a lot of this, yes.
I was just gonna chime in, so
Sure.
I liked your, email about the reminders, because I don't, spend a ton of time in some of these parks, especially in New Meadows. But the things I wrote down, playgrounds, bathrooms, the walkways and pathways. A little rough right now. Construction, I didn't type that in.
A little rough. But you went to see it? You get a gold
I
star.
went all three.
Give yourself another cookie.
Bill is close to me.
He didn't have one to
Yeah.
begin with.
And then the mulch and mud and there's drainage stuff, but that's all rain. So like, I didn't know about the history of the You Could Drive thing, I guess is what I'm saying, but
Yeah,
I wrote down just fresh eyes, never really going there that frequently.
yeah,
The playground and the bathroom definitely stand out. as a
absolutely.
Huge must.
Yeah.
If you're gonna list them, so.
Yeah.
And to answer your probably question, I
Yeah.
agree. I don't know the history of that thing.
Yeah.
So I'll go with you on it.
Yeah.
But the rest of it is.
Yeah.
what I saw.
So I don't know a lot about it, but I do know that there was a playground in that area. So when Indian Meadows Park was built, there was all these same families. It was built in the sixties and it was post-war.
Yeah.
Huge kids, and there were lots of playgrounds in the park. And then over time, the city didn't replace them.
Mhm.
And they became really dilapidated. And then, of course, the kids grew up and then the teens started hanging out there. So then they took out the playgrounds.
Well,
So that's what I've pieced together from my staff who've been here 30 years, 35
on
years.
the other part of that history, next out for this too. When we were kids, there were playgrounds at Gilman School,
Yes,
right? So that part where you're saying the people that don't have access didn't really go down there necessarily. They went to Gilman School for playground. So
Yes.
there were 3 playgrounds at Gilman School. I'm trying to remember. There
There
were
were
at least 2.
Yeah.
Huh?
I mean, even where Logos is, like Central
Yeah.
School.
there
We
were
had
playgrounds,
2 playgrounds behind Logos
right,
and a sports field.
Right.
And then
So
they built
that's-
Centerton and we
Right.
were more
So
playgrounds.
that's,
So
so
each of
part
these
it
grade
is-
schools is surrounded by playgrounds.
right,
And so part of the Indian Meadows issue is everything to the south
mhm,
that was playgrounds is now all development, right?
Correct.
There's residential,
Correct.
housing, et cetera. So not only do they not have effort, they lost.
Yeah.
Significant.
they lost that, and then they also lost access to Warson because of the honeysuckle. So everything used to be open, and a lot of residents used to go and play at Warson Park, but the honeysuckle closed off and people couldn't get through anymore.
So now we're trying, I think we're doing a good job trying to get access to those people
Mhm.
that now don't have any parking because it's been developed.
Do you remember how many households are in Indian Meadows? I don't remember. I know it's hundreds, but I don't remember. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah, it's huge.
It's in the
It's
hundreds.
it's in the hundreds. It's our biggest subdivision.
60.
Something up there. It's
So-
pretty high.
a track.
I think
We
it's,
got 2 more parts to talk about.
Please.
yeah.
So staff is making their recommendations, I think the Beverly is asking for. Are you okay with those 3 recommendations or do you like something else? or is there
The
something
one
else?
other, yeah, so the one other thing I would add is there was a discussion about, that's why I was asking about that upper land, about putting pickleball or courts of some sort at one point.
That would require opening the master plan. So right
So
now we
that
could,
wasn't in the map.
it's not,
I
that's
thought
not in the
part of
master
that
plan.
was coming up.
No,
No.
no, it was decided it was too close to the homes.
So
So-
it didn't actually get in the master.
No,
So if we wanted to put ports or whatever, it's outside the master plan at this point.
It is, that
So,
would go in
but
the
it's
next
still
map.
on
it would go in the next
It would
iteration.
have to go in the next map.
Yeah,
Because it's still on this.
it's still on, it's still on there, but remember, we don't want to go that way.
Well, but one thing you did talk about earlier was, do we want to do an update of the master
Well,
plan?
we have to. We
No,
yeah.
but what I'm saying is, in that evaluation, we may choose to do
We may,
redirect.
we may,
So,
we may.
so that's,
The only other thing I was
Yeah.
considering, is if there
Yeah.
was some way we could.
Yeah, and you'd really want neighborhood input before that type of, I would not feel comfortable recommending that as a project at this time.
So I know what we got input the last time. I thought the two top things were the circular walk, okay? And the second one was some sort of volleyball courts, pickleball.
No, courts were very low. We had some very vocal residents, but they were low. Yes,
The overall number.
the overall number was low, because water features are important because people wanted a pool and we knew we couldn't financially sustain one. That's why we're putting the water features.
so Travis, as you were walking through Indian Meadows and looking at, did you see other things?
No, it's really that, I mean, I had one of my twins with me, she actually liked the playground, but visually you can tell that it's dated, yeah, no, I mean, not Indian Meadows, those are the two big things.
Did you take her to the new
I
playground?
didn't know,
Okay.
I took right to.
When the water features on, you'll have to go back there. It's really cool.
It's such a
Yeah.
muddy mess down there.
Right, yeah, well,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's-
with
yeah.
all the construction, I think realistically,
And honestly, it doesn't look beautiful in present of all construction. It's been before.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
we're protecting a lot of trees.
So, I don't know, I don't think, I
So-
don't put anyone, did you get a chance to see if you wanna bring it in, do you like me?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
great.
mean, I
That's
mean-
excellent.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, Aurora Borealis, yes.
Oh, good.
That was great. I sent some folks over there. I hope the police didn't.
Yeah,
Was that-
I reminded the police
Okay.
that they were supposed to let people
Okay,
in.
so
Okay.
as far as the three priorities for Indian Meadows, then when we say that we want to stick with those for at least at this point, and then recommend that to council. So
Right.
why don't we move on to Herbside?
Excellent.
And
okay.
so
Much faster. So
as we look at that, we did a lot of work in Herbside. I mean, we moved the dog park to the front. We, there may be some connection issues with the parking lot and, logos.
we're taking care of that in-house.
And so there's, and as we look at it, that becomes one of our primary parks in terms of, smaller groups. And so the pavilion becomes somewhat of an issue. And then I think within the park, we have committed to a water feature, which was not part of
Didn't
Prop,
happen.
which was not part of Prop C. So are there other things as people walk through the parks? What did you see, or what do we need to?
So is that the Legion Trail done?
Oh, sorry.
We're looking at the picture that says what is done. Is that Legion Trail at the back of the park?
No,
No,
So it was not.
no,
And
it's not, it's not,
in-
it's not an orange, Sue. It's not an orange. The orange, this is all gray. That nature trail is gray. Everything here is gray.
Or the outlines. in-
I will say, I walked along the fence back there.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing that I did notice, what we have been doing over the last few years is honeysuckle isn't completely gone, but invasives are pretty much gone. As you get closer to the storm sewer ditch, it gets a little crazier down there, but, and I think our property goes down, goes down,
Goes to the fence.
goes to the fence.
Right.
So we need to look at that, but at the same time, I think that the nature trail staff has been wonderful. I mean, you have the sassafras trail, you have the cottonwood. Go ahead.
So Beth, you were gonna say something.
The orange is indicating that that's where the invasive species needed to be removed, and the staff did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the old dog park,
Is moved.
So what do we do in that area?
We naturalized it.
So that's,
There's stormwater protection in there, that stormwater flows through there. And we mowed it, but we left the concrete play items back there. So those were originally a children's playground, then they were surrounded by the dog park, so
so
now
that's your stay.
they're staying, they're
So
part of
height, the
big pipes, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what, when I walk back there, that's what I was trying to figure out, right? What's staying and what's going. So the intent is to get a real nature trail back there.
Just like the other trails.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Wasn't it supposed to be like a rock creek?
There is a rock creek, it goes down the side,
along the west
yeah,
side.
you'll see it, it's there, see where the dry
Yeah.
creek is, that's there, that was built. Yeah.
But is it done? Cause
Yeah,
it's
it's
a lot
done.
smaller than I
It's-
expected.
That's,
I expected it to be a lot longer.
It goes to the storm drain,
Okay.
yeah.
it goes from back of the dog park all the way down the hill.
And then I think once the nature trail's in, it's gonna extend it.
The dry creek, no,
Okay, then I must understood from the pictures we saw when we were.
so our recommendation for Riverside 1, the restrooms really need a renovation. Sorry. Restroom renovation, pavilion renovation, and install the interactive water play feature. And the pavilion would be the exact same footprint, just a new structure. Restrooms can be the same footprint, but they need a complete growth. They're gross. They're really bad.
There's nothing into stuff.
Yeah,
And Jim,
The pavilion, did we put a new roof on it recently?
No.
or-
They fixed it.
we
There was
fixed
a-
we fixed the roof on the restroom, but it still needs to
There
be
was a-
No,
replaced.
not the rough one, I'm talking about.
The pavilion, we had a project to do it, and then we decided not to do it because we were gonna do the park project.
so a question on the interactive water play. If we're talking about putting one in Indian Meadows, we have one in Villa.
We have one in Indian.
We have one.
That's where
Okay,
that's where the
okay,
crank
okay,
is.
so
Yeah.
we have that, we have it. Is that a high priority in terms of a third,
Yes, and
or
it,
even a fourth, because we're talking, I mean, we're not
Yes.
gonna talk about it tonight, but we talk about Warson. Do
right,
we need four and,
we do. Because remember, it's access for kids to have water access since we can't do a pool.
Right.
It was a promise we made to the residents. And when we say water feature, it doesn't mean a splash pad. It could be like Indian Meadows where it's manipulative. It's an opportunity for
Okay.
kids to, experience water and play with it, but it doesn't mean it has to be a giant
Like
splash.
activities. you know.
right, sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, STEM activities, exactly.
okay. As far as walking through, outside, did you see anything? Mhm.
Yes, the glider.
Gliders in general are really
I
rough.
saw those kind of in several places.
Yeah.
Yes, and whether they can be renovated or whether they need to be
They're
replaced.
historic and folkloric. I would really like to replace them all.
Yeah.
Jim wants to renovate them all, so we're having a difference of opinion.
Well, let's
Yeah.
take a vote right now.
Jen, we love you, but bam,
Just got me done.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the glider nature of.
The gliders are wonderful, but
and
those
the
are really
swing kind of
subpar.
thing.
Safer versions of that.
And I understand that.
We have a new one at Stacy, the orange one at Stacy is new. You can take a look at that. Jim does not care for that one.
The
Right.
color, the function,
He doesn't like any of it.
Well,
the orange?
Yeah.
I love it.
it's great.
okay. Yeah.
No, I mean,
No,
Well, the bottom
I-
line is
I
they're
think
like
it's very
$1,500, so it's not on the table for right now,
Jim,
but
it's very zen.
that's fine.
it doesn't squeak. But it
Yeah,
doesn't have a
Yeah,
footrest.
the squeaking, yeah.
Pat has an idea so you and Pat can talk about it. He thinks he can do them for $300 a piece by putting a cedar bench on there. So you can talk to him.
Okay, but be that as. it
But you're
may,
100% correct. They are rough, something needs to be done, but they are beloved. People love them.
We need to do something to replace it or.
But it's whatever it is, it's not capital.
Well,
Needed it multiple times. It's
yeah,
a-
that was gonna be my question. If
Yeah.
this isn't if we do a renovation on
Rob's
it.
raising his hand.
Rob,
So,
here,
wait, hang on.
Let's let
So
Rob.
I apologize, Rob's not getting picked up by the speaker. So Rob, you're saying you second getting them painted?
No, my question is that a capitalizable activity is renovating equipment? our existing equipment.
It's not, it wouldn't be a capital item, you're correct. It would be something we could do through our operating budget over time.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay.
They painted them the last time.
They sanded and painted them.
Well, they're scouts now.
I will tell you, having painted our metal mailboxes and our depot from King Kong, it doesn't. It really.
It's tough.
you think it
Okay.
would, but it doesn't.
Okay, okay, so,
Okay, it's 8:20.
one
yeah,
more question,
Okay,
Excellent.
okay, so,
one more question.
hey,
please.
Rob, as far as
Travis,
Earthside
I'm
goes,
gonna give you a
what are your thoughts on the restroom pavilion and water play feature? Do you like that order or do you have a different suggestion?
I would agree that everybody needs to use needs a good restroom.
Rob
The
says
priority-
everybody needs a good restroom.
okay,
Yeah, the prioritization is fine. The question I have is, does it make sense, since we have a limited bucket of money, to go through all these parks and then decide prioritization? Are we in a
Well-
position that we can take it park by park?
So we're taking it park by park to prioritize for each park. When it comes time to actually implement, when we do the master planning and we go after
Yeah.
the grants, that's how we'll kind of do the adjacencies. Yeah,
Ah,
because it
okay,
could
thank
be,
you.
we do a grant that covers 2 parks.
okay, thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
okay. Thank you, Rob.
okay, so is there any more discussion of Herbside?
Yeah, a couple things.
Okay.
So, probably doesn't fit here, but I did notice that the grass is rather long.
It's very long. Yeah, same thing. We went out there with the mowers again today.
Okay.
Yeah, the mowing company is struggling. So,
I was like, man, that was my
Is-
favorite cigar that I want.
yeah.
Is this a mowing company that was bought out?
Yes, so one of the employees bought the company,
Mhm.
and so it's his first year running it, so we're working with him. Also, there's a lot of gumballs in there and they can't mow the gumballs, so our crew's gonna help them get the gumballs out.
So. If there's a wet area.
We also
Is that
can't mow where
part of
it's
the
wet.
problem?
We also can't mow where we've had a lot of rain, and one of the mowers got stuck at Watsonia, so we're not mowing them.
So are we doing anything with family grass out by any?
We have a lot of stormwater mitigation in all of these plants, and we've already put many in, but
So they
we've
didn't-
had.
They didn't call that out specifically.
No, we already did 2 stormwater areas, 3 stormwater areas in Earthside. Our parks have a lot of water. We've had an incredible amount of rain. So,
Our,
So that's going.
our lawn person has had a crazy 3 weeks.
Yeah, so otherwise, for your list, yeah,
Yeah.
I put, billion bath, like, they're not set up, I thought it was.
isn't it weird?
Wild.
It's,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
really weird. It's very old. Yeah, it's very old.
I don't know anything about the water play thing, I'll go with you there.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing that stood out to me is there seems to be an obscene amount of big barbecue stations.
There are.
And
We're
I don't-
pulling some of those out.
people use it.
No,
I mean, they're-
no.
I mean, there's.
It's such a small
No,
park.
no, that,
I
so
forgot
when that
about
place
that.
was
Thank
built,
you.
it looked like a national park, because the pavilion actually had these big wings that
Yeah.
came out that had to be cut off because they rotted. So the park crew is actually gradually removing those. There were even more at Villa. We took those out already. Yeah, people don't use them.
Yeah, I was like, man, these
Yeah.
things look like they've been there.
Yeah, they have been, so we're taking them all out. Yeah,
Alright.
yeah.
Want to see a picture.
Oh, don't look at it.
Everyone,
Oh,
and there was dozens.
and they were all rotted and falling apart. We've taken so much out. Yeah.
We ripped them out, especially as the metal started.
Yeah.
We sent people over to different ones.
So,
Yeah, so I agree with the list, the water play thing, to your comment earlier, I kind of feel maybe the same way, but. These things.
And again, you guys will have a say in what that water play feature is. It can be STEM and not a giant splash pad.
so moving along,
Yes, sir.
Villa,
Here we go. Villa Park. So
several. of them.
the restroom renovation at Villa also
Absolutely.
absolutely needs a new restroom.
Right, that's the growth of the home.
And then the parking lot needs resurfacing so that it doesn't get like these other lots. I'm afraid if we don't take action, it's gonna be like these.
And I will tell you, I questioned that, but I went over to look at it. And it is on the edge of gravel.
Um,
And Bruce McGregor, who does a lot of the surface, does repaving and so forth. I think he's declared it
When we did this project, the upper right-hand corner pedestrian entrance was taken out of the project because the plans that we had would have directed stormwater into a neighboring property's driveway. So we pulled it out for a future project. So by putting it third, I know it's gonna take a lot of money, it's gonna take a lot of time, but again, this is a 5 to 10 year plan. I do want us to have pedestrian access for that quadrant, because right now people they do walk into the park that way, but it's very steep. There's a house there with a wheelchair, they kind of push the guy up the hillside. I really would like us to be able to do that, because not only does it open up for all those homes in there, but also the apartments are very close by, the Clover in there. So that this is their park, this is how they would get there. And there would be no parking, it's pedestrian, so. Yes,
So you come down to Laura's.
yes,
Okay, so my point is. that it's the summer.
right, right, they are, yes, right. Because we're gonna have to tie into that somehow, because of the way the land goes there. It really is, if you go out there during a storm, you watch sheets of water just flowing out of the park into the neighbors.
And we walked home one night and we were walking and we cut through and actually it must have been someone's backyard.
Oh, don't do that, they
Cause I
get
went
very
down,
angry.
I must have turned at Kenneth and not
Yeah.
Tess. And went over someone's bridge. and
Oh.
It was, no, I was sinking up to my ankles. It was.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was pretty bad.
Because it's a it's a
So when you
hillside.
talk about this, because I'm having a hard time visualizing.
Yes,
You walk all the way down, almost to Charles Gate.
Right.
Then make the left, and that would walk us.
make a
over-
right, you make
Make
a
a
right.
right, and then will there be a little, they're gonna need the need of a bridge there.
There's no bridge there. It's only if you go the way you went through someone's
Through
yard.
Kenneth.
So there's signs up there that say private property, don't come through, because those homeowners get really upset. Yeah.
But the street along Tess, it appears that the owners of the house, the only house on Tess,
Mhm.
they take care of that thing, so it looks like a private street, but it's not.
It's not, well, I think there's actually.
Okay.
I think
Did
it
he-
did, but I think they
They
paint
seal
it,
it,
they
they
seal it, they seal it, yeah.
So the only other thing I'd add about Philip, and I'm just curious, the one playground piece, the tall one with the net
Mhm.
going up,
Mhm.
kids love that, makes me a little nervous.
Makes me a lot nervous.
Yeah, I don't know if they got that good a balance. The other playground that's
Mhm.
sitting, if you're staring at the one with the net
Right.
to the left,
Right,
how old is that?
it's old, it's not as old as Indian Meadows.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact age off the top of my head, but I would say it's, probably early 2000s.
Oh,
We were gonna
Older. You think it's
Way
older?
older.
Because we took out there was an older one. We took out the earlier one that was next to it. That's the newer one of the two.
I thought it was there at the
I
same.
moved here in 2006.
Okay,
Not that.
okay,
Relatively new.
yeah. Because the other side was the one that had all the parts we couldn't get, had the tic-tac-toe, we couldn't get the pieces on. That was in worse shape.
That was your reason.
That was, yeah.
So from my perspective, it's serviceable, that if we we're gonna extend the list to, you know, 3 or 4, I mean, that
Okay.
would. That for me.
Well, we
think
can
that would
absolutely
be,
add that in there.
In the mix, but
Yeah, let's add it. Let's add, playground.
The other thing I would add, so I was over there the other day. We have taken, and I don't know if we do this or not, so I'm asking. We've taken all of these barbecue pits out that were lining around the entire park. So now there's a pit like near the pavilion. There's a barbecue.
There's a barbecue pit attached to the,
Yeah. It's in rough shape.
you mean our new one? The one that we put in 2018? That one's in rough shape?
It looks like it's not.
You mean the big group one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at it. I
It's
will go
not
look at
like
it.
it
Worth
was.
a, it's
And I don't know if
worth
it's just a
looking at.
heating issue.
Well, whoever's
or
renting is leaving it. in-
deterioration.
Well, people leave it in this disaster state, so I'll go
Yeah.
check it, because we can
So I don't
take
know if
care
it's
of
an
it.
upkeep issue
I'll go look at it.
It's not looking good.
Yeah, I'll go look at
And
it.
so my question is, can we do something, put in something that's more maintained, that won't, that can be used and not look like it's.
to anything that you're gonna have coals in and anything that's out in the weather year round is gonna look like this, it all rusts. Anything
It's
that,
not the rust as much as it just doesn't look toxic.
I'll go look at it, okay? Cause it's not very old. I'm sure we can just refinish it.
Or, I mean, if it's getting that much use, maybe we need to think about putting in another,
Oh, putting in a second one?
putting in a second, if it's getting as much use as it looks. Like.
I'll take a
Because
look at it
looks
soon.
like it's getting a lot of use.
I'll look at it.
So I don't think they were using the little ones, but I think that big one.
It was, yes, yeah, it's part of the pavilion rental program. So
Yeah.
that's something we can
So
replace
I'm
under
wondering
operating funds
we
if we
should
need
be
to.
Adding another option,
I will look at it and talk to the parks crew and find,
and that's got electrical, right?
there's electricity there, yes.
So are we doing anything to update that electricity?
It's already been done.
Right, so that's already.
Okay.
So from the perspective, I think tonight,
This is great
So did
feedback.
you add number 4, the Travis case?
I did. I did.
What did you put?
I put it as, I just added it. I
Like
didn't
older
rank it.
playgra-
I didn't
older
rank it.
Playground.
Yeah,
renovation
playground renovation. Yeah.
Of older equipment.
I'm not gonna rank it tonight. You're gonna have to come back in June. And, when you start looking at restroom renovation and playground, if it's a grant, you could do them both at the same time, depending. Playgrounds are incredibly expensive. Playground, the parking lots could probably be over $100,000. So it's, things are a lot of money. Yeah. So we'll get there.
so do you have the feedback that you?
I have the feedback I need,
Okay.
for sure.
And what we'll do next month, is we'll talk about the other parks. I wanted to make sure, because I knew this would be a long
But
discussion.
because of Juneteenth, we're gonna be being June 26th.
That's correct. And there is a strong possibility I will not be at that meeting, but Pat absolutely will be at that meeting.
So-
I see, I want to apologize. You approved the minutes and I spaced out because I don't know where my brain went. But the city council report is wrong.
Okay,
So it needs to be, that paragraph needs to be fixed.
Okay.
Because Sydney, I shared that Sydney,
Oh, no, he wasn't sworn in.
I said his name, Sydney Clark will be sworn in as a council member.
oh, yeah, oh, you're right.
And we didn't know who the mayor was going to be, and I said, and a new mayor will be voted at the April, 24th
Okay.
meeting.
I'll have Pat fix that. Thank you.
I definitely did not announce who it would be because we hadn't voted.
Okay.
Okay,
So, since we approved the minutes as they were,
Can you just make that an
so
addendum?
why don't we make an addendum? to everything?
yeah, I'll just put on here as amended and we'll amend it. No, I'll just add it.
I think we
I'm
can add
sorry.
that.
That's okay.
So-
Thank you for checking.
So I know people have commitments, so if you could do a quick go on the Warson monthly update. You have a few things that you can say about.
I'll just
Then
go
we
through it
can
really
do
fast.
the Council report.
Okay, so monthly, so this is, remember, July 1 to today. We're up to 765 memberships. We've had 57 since our last meeting added. What was the number? We've added 57 more since our April meeting, so we're at 765 is our current membership. Membership by the numbers breakdown, you can still see the lead right there is these colors, I can't tell. No, I think it's, the new active.
Renew active.
Yeah, I think it's, I can't tell. Here we go. This tells us more. Residents are still leading. These are our cumulative rentals so far.
Wait,
Go back, go
residents
back.
is.
You want me to send this to you?
Please,
Yeah.
just the fact reporting.
And we'll run this to them.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll have Pat email you because he compiled
That's what
this.
he did the
Yeah.
last time.
Okay.
Go back.
Okay, and what was the last time?
The rentals.
Rentals.
So with summer here, are there more rentals?
I'd have to, I don't know what the percentage of them are between this. I know we're very busy. We've got 4 big events in here this weekend, including a wedding and graduation parties. we had a big bar mitzvah last weekend. So,
People are using the place.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Maxine, can you give us a,
Sure, I'll give a quick update. We had a council meeting last night. The city manager shared that the Clover is at 61% leased. That's the apartments at Price and Olive. Aldi plans to break ground in July of this year, 24, and open in March of 25. We have an upcoming event, and for your neighborhood, everyone should get out and help coordinate it. So June 18th is going to be Olivet's Night Out, and it starts at around between 5:30 and 6, and the fire truck will come by, or police officers. I know Chevy Chase usually does it. Really haven't done it. We can do it. Pinhead, June 18th, it's a Tuesday night, it's on our off week of city council meeting. And then on May 22nd, there's a blood drive, and often there's blood is needed during the summer for different accidents and things, but it's at City Center, not here at Five Oaks. The parking lot at Five Oaks, the lower and the Grandview were voted last night to be funded. And the money used for that would be capital improvement fund from the recreation fund and ARPA money. And then the last is the openings for the commission seats. There's one on PCBC, there's one on Housing Authority, there's one on TV Appeals. Personal Board of Appeals, thank you, and 2 on Parks. So the applications are up online and on our website, and if you're looking to stay or move, or there's opportunities.
great.
thank you.
How's that for Cecil?
Does anybody have any questions for us? Okay, moving on,
Okay, you have a lot of information in your packet on things that happened in the Parks and Rec Department. A lot of you were at Party in the Park. We had a great opening for the show that's out there right now. These are new park signs that have
Will
gone
you remind us
in
the name of it? Archway of Healing, or?
Arts as Healing. Yeah, Arts as Healing. Yeah. There's a picture, you can see it better in your packet. The park crew designed and built these signs on the trails, and they did it to match our wayfinding, so I'm really proud of them, and it's incredibly economical. We
Wow.
ordered them from signs.com, and then they built they cut the boards and
so we
everything.
did all of those?
Yes,
Oh.
yes. Aren't they wonderful? It's all done in-house. I'm very proud of them.
Do you have any idea of how many people ended up on that rainy night? Did Party?
The staff think we had over 250.
Oh, yeah, it
Does
was-
you have to be?
Yeah, Peyton does a clicker every like 30 minutes.
There were way more people than I thought.
It was
there would be.
crazy.
Oh,
I couldn't believe it. I thought no one was gonna come. And the kids going down the slip and slides in the
Oh my
water.
God.
Oh my God.
They were soaked.
They were so, but they had a blast. It was crazy. Yeah, absolutely crazy.
Didn't stop.
And the magic show was great. Yeah,
I was shocked.
yeah, I was shocked
The
too.
trail signs, where are those at?
So right now they're on Sassafras. Then they're gonna go in, which is the one here. Then they're going to go in at Stacy on the Cottonwood. And then we have another trail in development right now. I can't remember its name.
What is it?
It's here somewhere. And there's the backside of,
Oh,
Stacy by the pond.
There's one on the, above the green.
yeah, so it's going in. That's the Sassafras. That's the Sassafras. There's another one going in.
There's one.
Oh, there's one back there.
Okay.
Back behind the Sassafras is
Yes.
south.
Yes.
This is
It's
the
a
east of
park.
us.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay, anything else? We had a major breakage on the playground here at Stacy. That piece has been removed. We got the replacement parts. They damaged it in shipping, so we've asked for a new one. So just to give you an example, that part right there, $2,500. Yeah, I mean, playgrounds are expensive. Yeah. And future agenda items. So, scheduled for June is the 6-month status report on Five Oaks. And then, the CIP, you'll do your prioritization part 2 next month for Stacy and Warson. And then commission reorganizations in July. If the commissioners have been appointed, depends on where the council meetings fall. There was one other thing you were supposed to know, and I don't remember what it was. So that is, upcoming events. There's a lot of events in your packets, a lot of classes.
And one thing that I would say also is that if everyone gets this week and all of that, emails that come out each Monday, there's information there. The park stuff is down a little further. I'm trying to get it moved back up to the top so that we get some.
Well, if you're not getting our constant contacts, do you get the constant? So if you're a member here, you
It's every
automatically
Monday.
get them. No, I'm talking about the,
Oh, from the park?
so right now we send out a lot more emails and we
Yes.
do a lot of social media. So if you're not getting them, I can add you, but so we pull it from the membership. So are
Right
you,
here, right?
We're
yeah.
members and I
Do you
don't,
get them?
Yeah.
we're
Okay,
members and I'm not getting.
that means you opted out of constant contact at some point, or your server's blocking it.
So anyway, but there's a lot of information out there on these events, so forth.
Yeah.
So I would have.
I remember what I was gonna say, the stargazing party tomorrow night is canceled. The,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of the.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I would call for a motion to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.
Thank you. Travis, that was better. Your voice was better.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The meeting in, June, I'm gonna be in California.
okay.
I'll go in and see my thing from the,
Oh, okay.
invite to have it.
If you have comments about the priorities that Stacy and
Yeah.
you can email those to
Yeah,
me.
I will.
Yeah, I don't make sure they're in there. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Thank you. Oh, I need to stop the meeting. Oh, Rob said it was typed.